What is the Metahero Everdome? Is this Metahero Everdome going to 100x? We're gonna do a Metahero Everdome, Metahero price prediction, and this project is something that I don't know about. Part of me is like, this is gonna go big, and a part of me is like, this is the biggest scam ever. And I'm gonna explain that in this video because what they preach sounds ridiculous. It sounds crazy, but it is also really the crazy things that makes changes in the world. So let's talk about the Everdome in today's video. But before we get to that, if you can just help me out with the YouTube algorithm by smashing the like button and the subscribe button, that'll help the algorithm a lot to push this video out to more people who needs it. Other than that, let's get into today's video. I have to preface this video with the disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor, especially with what I'm going to talk about. Please do your own research and your own due diligence before investing in Metahero or any other crypto for that matter, because in our world, nothing is certain. Even though people want things to be certain, nothing is certain. I am unsure about this project, so it's a big gamble if I'm investing into it, but at the same time, as much as it can just go to nothing, it can go to infinity and beyond. So that's how I want you to think about this. So this is kind of like, I don't know, a life hack or a life lesson that nothing is for certain, right? We don't know when we're gonna be living next, when we're gonna die next. I could wake up tomorrow or not wake up tomorrow. So nothing is for certain, so just take this information with a grain of salt. It's really here to help you kind of envision, see where the vision is going, and see whether you yourself is willing to go along with that vision. That will help you make the decision of whether to invest or not. So what is the Everdome? I had the biggest trouble really understanding what the Everdome is because, frankly, I think that the thing wasn't marketed very well. But to put it plainly, the Everdome is Metahero's metaverse. It will take Metahero from the gateway to the Everdome metaverse and provide a totally unique and a full Web3 experience, to the point where if you take off your VR headset and you look in what's in front of you, you won't realize whether you are in the metaverse or whether you're in the real world. So that's what they're preaching from what I read on their Everdome website. And that is incredible. If they can play with our senses like that, I think that is super cool and super exciting. But at the same time, I think it is incredibly dangerous because you don't know whether what's in front of you is real or not. But as an optimist, I can really say that that really excites the crap out of me. But all that aside, the Everdome will bring some benefits along with them. One of them is branding, and we know how important branding is. This whole YouTube channel is branding for me. And then it's gonna bring social. So removing social media from what we have right now with Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that to the metaverse, where people can connect in the metaverse like they're connecting in real life. And not only that, like in real life where you can play games, you could also play games in the metaverse, right? It's also gonna bring forth a professional setting. So with COVID and everything, how we are all working from home right now, offices are really unused. So how can we replicate that environment? It's kind of funny that the metaverse came at the time when we are experiencing this time in our life, right? Where everybody has to work from home. Now we can move that environment, allow team building, move that onto the metaverse. So people are actually meeting face to face. Well, not exactly face to face. They're probably seeing pixels of each other, but it resembles their face. And lastly, they're going to open a new market. Now it is in the metaverse. It's another world. It's virtual reality. But the premise is what you can sell in real life, you'll also be able to sell in the metaverse. And not only that, because we have a new universe, a new metaverse, you'll also be able to sell some new products that we might have never seen in real life and we might never be able to. Then they have the Dome Estate. And when I first read it, I'm like, what the heck is this? Even though I was already familiar with the metaverse, how they presented it, I really struggled with understanding what the Dome Estate is. But we can go through it right now if you were at the same point that I was. So with the Dome Estate, what they're doing is bringing brands and people together with the intent of building the highest quality Web3 experience. And basically you could do what you do on Decentraland or Sandbox in the Everdome with Dome Estate. So you can purchase land, and increase your holding of that land. You could buy, rent, and lease property because the land you buy is basically real estate. So that's similar to what we have in the real world, right? So you just buy that land and you can buy, buy, rent, or lease the property there. And you could also advertise, which is fantastic because if you have a company, if you have a brand and you want to expose yourself, you want to get a bigger reach, both in the metaverse and in the real world, then advertising space will be available. And then they have the marketplace, which was interesting. I'm curious how they will do this and how they will facilitate our marketplace, allowing us to increase our reach and customer base. So I'm really curious how they're going to do that. And they say that at the same time, we can have new types of products that we can really offer in the metaverse. With that, I wanted to segue into Metahero, which they deem as the gateway. So the idea here is really the combination of the virtual world with the real world to give everyone new experiences. And the niche that they're aiming for is basically gaming, VR, AR, fashion, social media, and medicine. So these are some really nice niches, and I'll tell you why. All of these niches are already existing. That means that people are already doing it. They are not disrupting the game, they are innovating on the game. It's not like Bitcoin, because when Bitcoin came out, Bitcoin is disruptive technology. That's why the adoption is so slow. But what they're doing here is they're innovating on top of it. Let's take fashion, for example. People will still go to malls and shop, put on clothes and stuff. But if Metahero is able to, using their 3D scanner, which you can learn about here, if they're able to 3D scan basically articles of clothing from the real world and have that on the metaverse, and people will scan their bodies too and have that on the metaverse, then people can really try on clothes in the metaverse. That is not disruption. That is innovating on top of what people are already doing. Except now they don't have to leave the house. They just have to go onto the metaverse and try on clothes that way. So what they're doing is the same with social media. We go on Facebook, but now it's just another level where we can actually maybe see the other person in front of us in the metaverse. That is still social media, right? We're still meeting and talking to each other through an internet connection. So is that disruption? No, I don't really think so. Personally, I think that's just innovation. So with that said, let's take a look at the tokenomics. So here they have new tokens. I think this is different from the hero tokens because the total supply here is 100 billion. Now that is a lot, but how I think about this tokenomics is that it's fair because the team gets 15% and the strategic partners and advisors get 12%. That total makes 27%, and the rest, like exchange listings and liquidity, development in-game rewards and staking, and hero exclusive presale, 10-set game launchpad, that makes about 55% that I really think is going to the public. So I'm pretty happy with that. Not sure what the private round is, if it was with, I don't know, special investors that they were friends with, or just basically really early adopters. So we'll just leave that out. We'll leave company reserves and marketing. Those are basically things that are needed, right? So basically what I'm looking at is how much are the partners and advisors and the team getting? And they're getting about a quarter and a little bit of change there in terms of talking about the whole financial infrastructure that we have here with the tokenomics. So guys, we're going to do a little bit of technical analysis, and I gotta say the charts look amazing because this is the kind of charts we want to see, right? We want to see a chart that goes up, then goes down, then goes a higher up, and then goes back down again. This is retracement, it's finding levels, this is healthy. But I want you to take a look at this. So basically we started here, right? And then we dropped, we went up here, and then we dropped. But this low is higher than this low, so it's a higher low. And again, we blew up, we went all the way up to, let's say, I don't know, 26-ish cents, and then we fell back all the way down again to this point here, which is another low. But the thing is, this low is higher than the low here. So that is a very healthy chart. So now it's going back up again. You can see that the trend is still going up. So we are still in a bull market from this chart. So what I'm looking for next is that maybe tomorrow, January 16th or January 17th, I want to see this candle, I want to see this graph break through this trend. But the trend is not really that important comparing to fibs. So basically, right now, Metahero is very undervalued because if we look at this, they're under the 50 EMA, and 50 EMA is basically where we want to always go back to, right? And the 50 EMA is that orange line over there. So we really want to see this break through this level, set a new zone, this 786 using the Fibonacci line, which is 12 and 43 cents. So basically that's where we want to go. Now, if you want to buy, anytime you want to buy here is a good buy, but if you're looking for some more specific points, then we could basically put another fib here and let's go down a time frame to, let's say, 4 hours. So here we're looking at the 618 and the 0.5. So I would wait for it to basically retrace to the 0.5 or the 618. So there is some chance that Metahero would go back down to this area here, which is between 10,381 and 10,751. So if it goes down here to this zone, then that would be a good buy. But looking at this here, look, we have some time to go. We want to see this break this 382 and the 236 to climb higher. So and I would say that this point here, 17th of January at, I don't know, 8 o'clock UTC is where we want to see this break happen. So right now, if you're investing for the long term, I really think that Hero would be a good buy because right now it's very underpriced. And you know, when we're talking about buy low, sell high, this is exactly the buy low, sell high that I'm talking about, because usually what happens is people buy here and they sell here and they make a loss, even though you should do it the other way around. So we want to buy around this area and sell when it goes back to that area. So, you know, Metahero, in my personal thoughts, is kind of like that girl who really knows how to play the game. She knows how to push and pull, how to get into your head and get you thinking about it all the time. Because with Metaheroes, there's just so much risk, but at the same time, there's so much reward. It's a big gamble, but it might be a gamble that might be worth it if it plays out. And it's risky because a lot of what they preach seems out of this world. But I also want to fall back on Steve Jobs' quote. He said that the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. With that said, guys, if you want to know more about Metahero, then check out my last video on Metahero that I did here. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video, if you actually learned something, then please consider giving me a like and a subscribe to help push this channel further and to get more content on crypto that you want to know about. Other than that, remember to stay humble, stay patient, stay focused, and stay disciplined. See you next time.